Professor Coomer here, talking about audience awareness for Essay 2. So, I've asked you to respond to an essay, and you've already done the brainstorming. You've decided, okay, this is the argument that the author is making, and this is how the author chose to prove that argument is true. So now, the question is, how do I do this audience part? You know, I have to do audience, either a paragraph or some kind of audience questions for Professor Coomer. How do I get that done? This is what I'm asking you to do with the audience questions. You need to try to figure out who the author was trying to write to. It's not necessarily who you're trying to write to, okay? And I want you to think about this. Just like in the first essay, right? In the first essay, you made an argument, and it was important that you knew who the audience was. It was really important you knew who the audience was because you wanted to sway that audience to believe you. In the same way, for whenever this author wrote the article that you had to read, that author was thinking of a specific audience. Now, you need to try to figure out, judging by the essay that the author wrote, who that author was trying to speak to. And then, of course, it's not just everybody, okay? You need to think, is there an age group? Maybe there is, maybe there's not an age group that this audience is particularly speaking to. How can I find clues in the reading to say, well, this author was probably talking to people who are teenagers, or people who are in their 20s, or people who are in their working years. Maybe you might even say ages 20 to 65. Maybe there's clues, okay? Maybe there is a gender. Maybe there is an ethnicity. Maybe there is a social class. Maybe there is maybe it's just this is speaking to a specific country. Is it speaking to just Americans, or is it speaking to people worldwide? Yeah, it could be speaking to everybody, but it's not. Effective arguments target a specific audience, and part of this assignment is for you to figure out who the audience was. And so think about these things. What are some other things that you might be able to say, well, I'm pretty sure this audience is, the audience that the author was trying to speak to is maybe concerned. What are they concerned with? I'll just put concerned about ... These people are concerned about healthcare. These people are concerned about retirement. A lot of this is going to tell you about their age group, about a lot of these other aspects that we already wrote. But maybe it will, maybe it won't. Maybe they're concerned about the environment. Maybe they're concerned, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not concerned about the environment. Maybe these people, maybe the author is writing to get people to be concerned about the environment. Or maybe the author is saying, okay, you're already concerned about the environment. Let me tell you why you're wrong to be concerned about the environment. Maybe, okay, you're concerned about the environment. Well, you're not doing enough. So you really need to think about what the argument is and try to think about how the author makes that argument. If you can understand how the author makes the argument, you're going to understand who the author is trying to speak to. So whenever you do your audience paragraph or your questions or whatever it is I have you do, you are going to really think about, okay, I'm going to really have to read this essay very closely. I'm going to try to figure out who this author is trying to talk to. And I'm not going to, if you say it's to everybody, you're not going to get any points, because it's not. It's not just to anybody and everybody, okay? So really think about, what are some groups, what does this audience really look like, okay? And that is the audience that you're going to be commenting, well, this author makes this point, and I feel like that is a good point for this audience. This audience will probably agree. It's important to understand who this other person is trying to speak to so that you can respond to it yourself. All right, get started.